All right, guys. The watch list video for Friday. Friday's here already. Remember, we had a holiday this week, so it's for July 7th. Starting off with my equity curve, I literally almost went the entire day without trading, and then I found one trade, and I made like 40 bucks. So I do have a new green dot, new high for the year for my account, but it is touching the other dot because I just made a smidge. But anyway, I just couldn't find anything. I hadn't. I don't think I've made it to the lunchtime Q&A in our chat room without taking a trade before that. Maybe in years. I don't know. I just couldn't find anything. I try to find reasons not to take a trade, and then when everything lines up where I can't find any reason not to take it, that's kind of my barometer that tells me to take the trade. So I just couldn't find anything today. There were some really nice ideas put forth in the chat room. Some of them in the area that I don't really like trading, like sub dollar stocks, but I'll show you a couple of those. I didn't take them though, but anyway, the SPY back down near that 240. It's got pretty good support at 240 because it was resistance here and here, and then held here for support. So we'll see. Let's go into the watch list. All right, FRED. Just another red day. We had this on Bounce Watch already. I mean, I love it down in this area for a possible turn, but only if I get a proper setup. So it just goes back on the list. Sometimes you'll see Bounce Watches on the night after night in the video because they don't give me any kind of trigger and they keep falling. And the logical response would be, why didn't you just short it a week ago? And I agree, but only because my crystal ball is broken. So I just watch things. Keep in mind, if you're trading properly, there's no guessing, right? You have a watch list and you're looking for certain things intraday. And if you get them, you take the trade, assuming the market's not, going against you in a strong manner. And, you scalp some, you tighten the stop, and you rinse and repeat. So trading, I have people say to me all the time, hey, can you look at this chart and tell me where it's going? And I always chuckle because people think chart reading is somehow fortune telling. It's not. It is looking at a chart and then saying, okay, if X happens, then there's a strong chance Y might happen. And so we wait for X to happen, but nobody can look at a chart and tell you what it's going to do based on the chart, right? We can have theories. For instance, this CBI I'm showing you, which is the next stock on the watch list, and you can say, okay, this had a huge move, and now it's down like 5 days in a row to the 20-day. So tomorrow, this one might bounce. I mean, to me, that's more like trading. So I'm going to watch it tomorrow and see if it gives me any kind of a low-risk setup, okay? Another quick example, I don't want to digress too much. APHB. And this just looked like this when I called it today, okay? I saw that it had a really strong move, and we're getting near the afternoon, and it's flagging, and the daily chart looks impressive. It's kind of breaking out on the daily. And so I gave out the 108 idea, which is kind of a trend line break with two catalysts above, 110 and high of day break 113, okay? So I gave out the 108 with a 103 stop, and you can see what happened. It triggered and went all the way to 120. That was the thesis, and that's what chart reading is. And I'll show you the daily real quick, too. Now, keep in mind, I'll have to zoom in so you can get a better look. This was breaking out of this big island down here, and it had really strong relative volume. Okay? So when I saw that, of course, it wasn't all the way up to 118 yet, but I saw the strong relative volume, and I saw kind of a breakout, and I thought to myself, if this closes strong, it might even gap tomorrow. And so what happens is, pan back out here, what happens is shorts love to jump on these low price stocks, and when they're right, they can make them round trip. But when they're wrong and you get near the end of the day and this candle, the daily candle, this is intraday, but the daily candle is holding up, shorts start to get nervous and say, you know what, I better get out of this before it rallies into the close, or, before I get squeezed or whatever. And so that's the thesis. Somebody in the chat room today said, hey, I looked at APHB when you called it and I just didn't understand, and so I didn't take it. And that's the thesis, honestly, is that shorts jump all over these low price stocks. When they flag and you're getting near the afternoon or near the end of the day, if it's not rolling over, there's a good chance you're going to get a flag break and a late day squeeze. And that's exactly what happened. All right? So that's chart reading, not, oh, look at this chart, here's where it's going. And I always cringe when someone on Twitter or anywhere says this is going to this price. Okay, because nobody knows. All right, anyway, enough babbling. So back to CBI. As the reasons I just gave, it is on Bounce Watch, right? You had a really nice move. You're down like 5 days in a row to the 20-day. It's time to start watching this thing to turn up. Actually, I was watching for it to turn up today, and it didn't. But the market was weak too, so it was just no trades in it. Doesn't cost me anything to have something on a chart. MSDI, this is obviously a weird chart, but it went from like 50 cents to almost 240. and then had a big old shooting star looking candle, and then today it dropped down, but actually kind of a narrow range today. So if this one can give me a low risk setup tomorrow, I might take a long, and I feel like it needs to come in a little more, but you never know, right? Anytime you have a recent high flyer like that and you get a nice intraday long setup, it's worth having on a chart. VSTM. This is one I was bidding on today, but it never came back to me. But a really strong move today. I just want to watch this one, maybe a red to green, something like that tomorrow. You don't want to chase, but sometimes these things can just make stupid moves. I already showed you APHB. I'm going to have that back on where I'm going to have it on watch for tomorrow, just to see if it can get a follow-through day. That's really big volume there, okay? MYOS. I don't love this because it only traded 262,000, but we are in a holiday week. But you did have this candle from 181 to 238. Now you've got kind of a quiet inside candle. If it can get over today's high, maybe over 220, it might retake this and break out. It did make a big move back in January, so it's kind of a sleeper pick, but we'll watch it. IMUC had the huge move and then a gap up and then one of those indecision candles where, you know, had a big topping tail and bottoming tail. Did have a strong rally into the close. I don't know how much that means for tomorrow, but I want to watch that one tomorrow. Again, it just falls in the category of recent high flyer, right? CNAT, I like this little flag on the daily, and then in after hours they had news. So right now it's trading at 641. So going to 15s, it's trading kind of up near the highs of this kind of flag pattern on 15s there. So let's keep our eyes on CNAT. KTOV, another big mover today, and closed pretty strong. I want to watch that for a follow-through day tomorrow. PRAN, you had the big move, and then a couple red candles kind of flagging. Let's see what it looks like on 15s. You kind of have, you know, you can kind of picture a flag right here. So back up over 3, that might be worth a look tomorrow. GLBS, nothing interesting here, except that in after hours it's trading, at least right now, at 158. They had earnings after the bell. It has pretty clear resistance at 180. I'm using 60s here, 60-minute candles. So a possible gap and go tomorrow. GLBS is one stock, as you can see, that really can move like crazy sometimes. So I think it's worth watching tomorrow for a possible gap and go. That's GLBS, CERC, just a few more here. Let's go back to the daily. CERC, huge move. Now this is an example of Michael H.A. in our chat room pointed this out, called this long at 75 cents today. He runs scanners for low float, low price stocks, and he usually finds the big movers early. So again, a lot of people in our chat room, including me, have him on our hot script, which means if he types something, we get an audible alert, and it also, people on that hot list appear in a separate window in addition to the main chat window. So it helps separate and differentiate and helps you see the posts from the people that you want to see. And like I said, he's really good at, he runs a great scan and finds these things early. I never did take a trade in this one, but man, that is a strong move. Again, it always feels like chasing when you have something like, so just keep in mind, it's not like I'm looking to go long tomorrow no matter what, but if it gives me a low risk setup, I'll take a trade in it, all right? And it's something like this, 25 million shares and a huge move like that, it's really more meant to be watched for the next 5 days or so. Tomorrow probably won't be a trade, but we never know until we watch it, right? MARA, this one's pretty interesting to me actually. It had this big volume move, and again, it's a sub-dollar stock. It, you know, and it went from, I don't know, the low this day was 14 cents. It went over the next few days all the way to 55 cents. That's a really nice move, right? And now it's kind of flagging on the daily. It had extra volume today, and you go to 15-minute candles, you can kind of see a clear trend line from here to here, and then a kind of a day-long flag today after the early pop. So this up in this area over 45 cents or so might start knocking down this, and this. I call those dominoes, and maybe rips. This one's interesting on a lot of time frames. MARA, and one last one, RGSE. Got it. You can't tell here until I zoom in, but it had a nice pop from 81 cents over the course of a day, and a little bit of another day to $1.14. It's really been flagging ever since, and then a nice volume pop today. Today's high was $1.10, closing at $1.03. So over this trend line, maybe through $1.10, that certainly could rally. It's a beaten up baby solar play, I believe. So anyway, we're going to watch that one too, and we'll also check for some gappers in the morning. Enjoy your evening, guys, and we'll see everybody tomorrow.